Hello, I'm Stephen Boyle.
And I'm David O'Connor.
And we are two of the buyers here at Eason's. And given the week that's in it, we thought we'd talk you through some of the biggest film adaptations that are out this year. The Oscar nominations have just been released, so let's have a look at the biggest contenders. The first is The Stingman by Robert Greene. This is the book from which American Hustle has been adapted. 10 Oscar nominations for that. An absolutely fantastic film, really, really entertaining, with Amy Adams and Christian Bale and Jennifer Lawrence. So a fantastic, fantastic book. Dave, did you enjoy the film?
I did. Slightly overhyped, but the hair gets 5 stars from me.
Good. Another film that's got just behind American Hustle with 9 nominations is the incredible 12 Years a Slave. This is the book by Solomon Northup, obviously born a free man in the US and was kidnapped in the 1840s and sold into slavery for 12 years, where he was eventually liberated. A fantastic film, kind of difficult to watch at times, but a brilliant central performance by Chiwetel Ejiofor with Lupita Nyong'o and Michael Fassbender, of course, doing very, very well indeed. So directed by Stephen McQueen, and fascinating read and a good look at that
and it's
period
been
in time.
Since the movie's opened up, because of obviously the Oscar nominations, the demand for the book is growing and growing, and it's a harrowing. It's one of the ones that they're not recommended to someone, but they have to see it because it's just fantastic. And Michael Fassbender is just insane but brilliant. But it's just going to get bigger and bigger. So yeah, the book is well worth catching up on.
Yeah, and following Hunger and Shame, it's kind of 3 out of 3 for Stephen McQueen.
Yeah,
fantastic. A biography of a completely different sort is The Wolf of Wall Street by Jordan Belfort. Leonardo DiCaprio, Oscar nominated for his performance. Jonah Hill also nominated, and Martin Scorsese obviously nominated for Best Director. Another kind of fantastic slice of life. A man who made $48 million in 1 year and wasn't happy because he just missed out on $1 million a week. Kind of very different to 12 Years a Slave, Dave.
Yeah, it's kind of polarizing the crowds out there, and it's 3 hours. It's supposed to be absolutely barking bonkers, but it's based on fact. And this guy was absolutely mad, and all the people and the world he lived in the 80s seems to be quite bonkers. So it's getting huge coverage, and I know it's selling out everywhere. And again, the book is even more insane than the movie, so it's well worth catching up on. And it's definitely one that's going to get picked up because of the Oscars. And momentum seems to be with that and American Hustle as regards who's going to win the big one.
Kind of neck and neck, and the original running time for the film was 4 hours, so we might see a director's cut at some point of Wolf of Wall Street. An incredibly topical book this year is Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. Obviously, Nelson Mandela, the great statesman that he was, passed away in December this year. Idris Elba plays Mandela in the film adaptation of Long Walk to Freedom. U2 are nominated for an Oscar for their song from that, and just an epic tale of one man and his life in South Africa, struggling to bring change about. So fantastic, and really another must-see at the cinema this year.
Yeah, no, again, it's been getting huge coverage, and you too, obviously, we'll get a bit of. My favourite non-book story is Kate Blanchett, who I love dearly, is brilliant. My favourite put down of the year on the red carpet when she turned to Bono, who was being slightly annoying, and went, "I liked your first album. If ever you loved a woman, now you love her more," because she was brilliant. But no, Mandela is with the song and with the book and the coverage. Idris Elba is amazing and definitely topical.
Yeah, fantastic. One of my favourite films of last year was Captain Phillips, the hostage hijacking drama starring Tom Hanks, who's absolutely stunning in the lead role of Richard Phillips, who was piloting a Maersk trawler, only for it to be hijacked by Somali pirates. Directed by Paul Greengrass, who directed all the Bourne films and United 93, but again, a really kind of gripping, edge-of-the-seat thriller, real white-knuckle ride around this.
Yeah, I think stressful, yes. Mm-hmm. Towards the end, you got a bit of a stress neck, but it's just an amazing story and so well put together. And Paul Greengrass, ignored for the director, was he?
Passed over,
yeah. But which kind of never bodes well for a film, but the supporting cast and everything in it, and it's just a really rip-roaring, and it was just, as I said, it became quite stressful near the end.
Yeah.
Fantastic, and the book is supposed to be well worth a look.
Yeah, Barkhad Abdi is nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and it's a fantastic film in that it moves from like a really big ship to a very small lifeboat towards the end, so it has that flip between like a huge open space and a very claustrophobic atmosphere. If you do get a chance to see Captain Phillips, well worth a look. And finally for me, a quick mention for The Hobbit. The second film in the trilogy is out now in kind of IMAX and 3D and all that sort of stuff. Giant spiders running around the place, all very stressful, but again, epic film from Peter Jackson, and just as popular as it's always been.
Yeah, really. And it's one of those, and being a bit of a nerdy, hobbity person, it's definitely, I think it's much, the first one was always, because you're cutting that book into 3 movies, yes, basically the first was always going to be the singing slow dwarf songs, second one is the action one, and the third one, and I would say Oscar-wise, maybe like with Lord of the Rings or Return of the King, the third movie is where Peter gets a bit of recognition, because ultimately these are amazing movies that make billions every year, so I think, based on it. But the fact he's made 3 out of that means it's a quick read, but it'll take you 9 hours. It's longer to watch the films than actually read the book.
Indeed. That's what's out in the cinema at the moment, but Dave, you're going to talk about stuff that's coming down the line.
Yes, I'm going to attempt to talk about stuff. One that's getting huge coverage in the US, overperformed beyond belief, and is this story, the US Navy SEALs. You could argue the name gives it away, but basically Navy SEALs going into on the Pakistani border, and it all goes horribly wrong, and basically it's the dog fights and the war fights and these kind of troops who are backing each other up. The main thing behind this movie, and based on that, the book sales are increasing every week, is Peter Berg is directing, an absolutely brilliant director as far as I'm concerned, but a really, really brilliant cast. And this is the Mark Wahlberg, the good Mark Wahlberg, as opposed to the bad Mark, because every now and then he kind of does a good bad movie. It's a really strong cast, and I think it's going to do really well here. And again, it's nearly doubled what it was supposed to have taken in the US, and it's not just because it's a US thing. I think as war movies go, this one is getting raised. So the book is been absolutely, and we've always done historically very well with these kind of stories of danger and operations going horribly wrong. But fantastic stuff.
There was a picture on Twitter of a cinema, I think it was in Texas in the US, where they put a sign up and they basically cancelled every other film that they were showing in the cinema just to give on repeat showings of Survivor.
But no, great stuff. I'm looking forward to that. One that we're all very excited by, Mr. John Green, the god, the legend, the nerd. Fault in Our Stars has been this phenomenon that's been, as a book, selling from the YA section, the young adult section, but breaking out the adult section, set around 2 teenagers in a cancer support group. And Shailene Woodley, who this is the year, she's the girl that's going to be in Divergent, another movie that's coming. This is going to just break people's hearts and go to a whole different level. I think anybody who's read it, whether it's the grown-up buyers or myself or anybody in the office, this is the one that's going to completely catch people. This guy is a sensation, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful story, and I think it's going to be amazing.
Don't read it on the bus, you'll end up sobbing.
Yes.
And that's not a good look for anybody.
Or guyliner.
Yes.
So shocking. Monument Men, do you want to talk about Monument Men? It's some fantastic looking movie.
Fantastic looking movie, and a stellar cast as well. George Clooney, Matt Damon, Bill Murray, John Goodman, among many others. Oscar winner Jean Dujardin, who won the Oscar for The Artist a couple of years ago. This is a story of a group of men looking after art during World War II. Kind of looking after the world's greatest art collection, and a bit of a heist movie, I think, kind of thrown into it as well.
and basically Hitler's basically said if anything goes horribly wrong, burn everything.
Yes.
So they're trying to get everything before they all go around wrecking the gaff. But again, it looks fantastic. Directed by George Clooney, which is probably key as well. And I think it was due to be in the Oscar rush, and then they probably just gauged that. You could argue they've avoided everything because it's not good. I think it's just avoided because there's just too many, as you can see from this pile. I think it just has a really good old-fashioned.
It's kind of like an Ocean's 11 during World War II.
Yeah,
kind of
it looks great, and some really strong stuff. So that's Monuments Men. And 2 we're going to put together only because it's just the hype around this lady, Gillian Flynn. Recently, Entertainment Weekly did a cover shoot with Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike, and the cover shoot was actually directed by David Fincher, who was doing this one. You all know the story at this stage. If you haven't, this book has been a sensation again. Unreliable narrator is the best way to describe it without giving anything away. Just don't trust anybody. But brilliant about a kind of yuppie, is it 80s, 90s kind of yuppie family, this in New York, and it's just it's almost like a whodunit, or from 2 perspectives, you don't know who's telling the truth. And the great thing about this is, I think, that is Gillian Flynn is actually rewriting the last third of it. It's been rewritten, so even if you've read the book, you won't know what's going to happen. And then on top of that, Dark Place, another one of her series. The weird thing was Charlize Theron was the favourite to get the role of Rosamund Pike in this one, but she didn't get it. But 2 months before Gone Girl comes out, stars in this, another kind of whodunit, did something go wrong, the daughter, what the hell's going on here. But 2 absolutely, they're just a kind of a hot crime sensation right now across the world, and there are 2 or 3 books. They've just all been signed up. So if you haven't read them, read them. If you have read them, it doesn't matter because they're going to change the scripts anyway. But again, all of these books are just fantastic. Just again showing how Hollywood, when they run out of ideas, go to books. There's some great stuff. We may not have read them all, but it doesn't matter because the hype alone, either you see the movie and you go buy the book, or either you've read the book and can't wait to see the movie. But ultimately, it's been fantastic. Yet again, before the movie came to the book, it's just always been, every year we get a great sensation of like people saying, oh wow, this is based on a book. And even if the movie's rubbish, do you know what? The book's probably a lot better. Get the book.
Absolutely. So even if you can't get to Hollywood this year, these books are all available in your local Eason stores and on easons.com. They're part of the buy one get one half price promotion. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook and on Twitter, and we'll see you soon.